that we've kind of had a full weekend to process some of the first couple games of the NBA playoffs, teams have gone up 2-0. Some teams have only played one game. Obviously, we're seeing game two tonight between the Nets and the Celtics, and you've got the Milwaukee Bucks and the Bulls. Game three between the Sixers and the Toronto Raptors. There are a lot of great series that are still going on and more opportunities for guys to shine. But I wanted to highlight through the first 5 days of the NBA playoffs who have been or which player in particular has been the most impressive so far. There are a lot of candidates. You can look at who I've mentioned, the aforementioned Anthony Edwards, who's been fantastic, 36 points in his playoff debut in game one. You can look at Tyrese Maxey, who's got an incredibly strong case, 38 points in game one, near triple-double a couple days ago in game two against the Raptors. They're up 2-0. The Philadelphia 76ers are in that series. Chris Paul had a monster game one. Kyrie was magnificent against the Brooklyn Nets in game one. There are a lot of guys you can highlight, but for me, the guy who has stood out the most in the first couple of days of the postseason is the Golden State Warriors' Jordan Poole. And I think that he has to be the unanimous pick for several reasons. Let me first start with knocking off some of the other guys. This isn't to put down anyone, but it's to put into perspective what Jordan Poole's been doing. Obviously, Anthony Edwards was tremendous in game one, dissipated a little bit in game two. They're tied 1-1. Tyrese Maxey is still playing with Joel Embiid and James Harden. So as great as he's been, he's got a lot of help. Chris Paul and the Suns lost game two. Kyrie, we don't know what's going to happen. They still lost game one. Jordan Poole, this is a guy who dropped 30 points in his playoff debut. That is going to be mentioned in my Malkin's moments, by the way. It was tied for second most points in franchise record for a playoff debut with 30 points. Did Jordan Poole, shooting 69% from the floor in that game, 71% from the three-point line. He was fantastic. And what did he do in game two? He followed it up with another 29-point performance to go along with like 5 rebounds, 8 assists, still 50% shooting from three, not just from the floor, from three. He's been absolutely sensational. 59 combined points in the first two games of the postseason. This is a guy who averaged 18.5 in the regular season, and now he's the team's leading scorer in the postseason. And what's impressive to me about Jordan Poole, we always talk about expectations for guys going in to various situations. And I do think that it's important when you're asking yourself this type of question of evaluating individual guys' performances. Well, what did we expect to see from these individuals going in to this circumstance? Jordan Poole, this was a guy who was drafted 2019, 28th overall pick. A lot of scouts didn't even have him as a first-round draft pick. They envisioned him as a second-round draft pick. And when you compare his performances to some of the other guys that I've mentioned, Anthony Edwards, number 1 overall pick. Kyrie Irving, number 1 overall pick. Chris Paul, number 4 overall pick. Jason Tatum, number 2 overall pick. Now, that's why I give Tyrese Maxey a lot of credit. He was the 21st overall pick. But again, he's playing with Embiid and Harden. So to me, the impressive scale slides down just a touch. Again, he's been fantastic, though. But Jordan Poole, this is a guy who had to work his way up in this league. Started out in the G League with the Santa Cruz Warriors, was unstoppable there, was given an opportunity to make the rotation with the Warriors. He's blossomed in that role. Obviously, last season we saw him really flourish and come into his own in the second half of the season. He's been fantastic ever since, and he's been so good that even with Klay Thompson's return, who in a lot of ways you can argue, as much as I love Klay Thompson, he's kind of stunted the growth of Jordan Poole. As great as Klay Thompson is, Jordan Poole, he's been proving to the coaching staff, hey, you cannot take me out of a ball game. You can't bring me off the bench. I need to be in the starting lineup. That's how fantastic he's been. He's been so fantastic that he's forced Steve Kerr's hand of bringing Steph Curry off the bench as he's kind of recovering uh, from his own injury. So to me, Jordan Poole, he's a flashy kind of player. He's got eye candy with his style of play. He's got a nasty handle, yet he fits in harmoniously with Steph, with Clay, with Draymond in that Golden State Warriors system because he's actually a really unselfish player. As flashy as his style can come across at times, he's really an unselfish player. He moves without the ball. He doesn't hold on to it for too long. He's got unlimited range. I mean, that's the impressive thing. He's really the third Splash brother now with Steph and with Clay. But he's a marksman from anywhere. He's got a nasty handle, one dribble, pull up, crossover, dribbling into a jump shot, catch and shoot, doesn't matter. The guy can finish around the rim. He's a little bit more stocky and strong than you might think based on his appearance. Nice body control. This is an elite player. And you combine the fact that he's been producing and his team has been winning. When you look at all the NBA playoff games that have taken place and you look at all the teams that have been playing this postseason, you can argue the Golden State Warriors have looked like the best team this postseason. And you can argue he's been the best player on the best team that's up 2-0 right now. Now, again, no one's claiming he's better than Steph. But in the first two games, he's been absolutely fantastic. And again, I'm not saying necessarily that the Warriors are going to win the championship. I'm not going to make a claim like that in this topic, but it's undeniable that he has been absolutely fantastic. And collectively as a team, the Warriors have looked the closest to being a flawless basketball team through the first two games of the postseason. And he's a big reason why. And I remember I talked about this on the show Morning Joe several months ago when there was a report that came out that the Warriors were thinking about offering Jordan Poole an $80 million extension. Now, at the time, I was a huge proponent and an advocate of that. I was all in. Now, that would be theft. I wouldn't be doing, and the Warriors wouldn't, as an organization, wouldn't be doing or wouldn't be exhibiting their fiduciary responsibility if they offered him that contract now, because now his value has skyrocketed from that point. Now, I was all in back then. Clearly, I'm still all in now. I'm not sure if he can command a super max kind of an extension because, or even that second contract past your rookie contract extension, because he's never officially made an all-star team. He's never made an all-NBA team. So I don't know if he's going to get one of those 5-year, $170 million contracts. Probably don't see that happening, but can I see him signing a contract or being offered a 4 or 5 year, $100 million, $125 million contract, 4 years, $100 million contract? Yeah. If not exceeding that. And truthfully, it'd be worth it because he is proving that it's almost like what the Oklahoma City Thunder had in James Harden. However, it'd be like them keeping him. It'd be like them retaining him for an additional season and letting him kind of blossom and flourish. That's what the Warriors are kind of doing. We'll see what they do in the in the offseason. But again, he's been the guy who through the first couple games of the postseason has been stellar. I've been absolutely most impressed by him, and I cannot wait to watch them play again. I think they're playing on Thursday, Game 3 at the Denver Nuggets. Cannot wait for that.